Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai. I am servant Ariel, and I want to say peace and salutations to all the elders and brothers out there bringing out this truth with sincerity. And I'm going to do this lesson titled, The Most High Has Given Them the Spirit of Slumber. And I'm going to start with the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 15 through 17. And the Lord Yahweh took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord Yahweh commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. Verse 17, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Now, we know that this was Adam in the Garden of Eden. He blew into him the breath of life, which was the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. And he gave him the straight commandments from the foundation of the world, and was telling him not to go off and go into any other ideology, because he said in the gospel, a tree is known by its fruit. So he didn't want him to go and get into any other ideology, false doctrines. He wanted him to stay with the straight commandments and the doctrine of life. And from there, I'm going to stay in Genesis, and I'm in chapter 2. I'm going to jump down to 21 through 23, and it reads, And the Lord Yahweh caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord Yahweh had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. So this was when he didn't like the idea that he was alone. He said it wasn't good for a man to be alone. But this was a time where he put Adam to sleep to take his rib and make Eve. Verse 23, and Adam said, This is now bone of my flesh and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. So this was also signifying a marriage. When he had Eve, Adam was given Eve from the Most High. And it was also talking about his covenant of walking in agreement with what he said from the beginning, to walk in the law, statutes, and the commandments that he gave Adam from the beginning. Romans 11, verse 7 through 10. Past it, Salakia. Romans chapter 7, verse 11. Salakia, Romans 11, 7 through 10, and it reads, What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. So this lesson is titled, The Most High Has Given Them the Spirit of Slumber. So a lot of our people, they're blinded right now because they're not being obedient to what the Most High has said for them to do. So he has to remove the scales from their eyes, and then they'll be able to see things clear. Verse 8, according as it is written, Yahweh have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear until this day. So I wanted to go back to Genesis to show an example of the Most High putting a sleep on people. And so that's why I wanted to start with Genesis, to start from the beginning. So here, let me read it again, verse 8. Verse 8, according as it is written, Yahweh had given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. Verse 9, and David said, Let their table be made a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Verse 10, let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their backs always. So this was Paul was reiterating what David had said. So this was the Lord had put in the spirit of slumber on people. So I want everyone to realize that the only way people can see is if the Lord removes the scales from their eyes and let them see this truth, this word, this wisdom, and this knowledge. A lot of times why they keep rejecting it is because he's got them in that spirit of slumber. So that's why they can't see. They hear it, they walk by, they hear it, a lot of the people, but they just keep rejecting it because they have the spirit of slumber. John chapter 9 and verse 39 to 41. And this is Hamashiach Yahushai speaking. John chapter 9, verse 39 through 41. And it reads, and Hamashiach Yahushai said, for judgment I am come into this world, that they which see not might see, and that they which see might be made blind. What was he saying there? Well, he was saying how he wants people to stop looking at everything carnally and forget looking at the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, the pride of life. Stop looking at everything carnally and look at things spiritually. You have to look with spiritual eyes, the way he wants you to see things and how he wants you to live according to the scriptures. Verse 40, and some of the Pharisees which were with him heard these words and said unto him, are we blind also? So some of the Pharisees, they questioned the Mashiach Yahushai and said, are we blind also? Verse 41, the Mashiach Yahushai said unto them, if you were blind, you should have no sin. But now you say we see, therefore your sin remaineth. So now people that are saying that I see, I can see things clear, then they shouldn't be in any sin. That's what he was trying to tell them. If you can see, you shouldn't be sinning. You should be doing things according to the scriptures and in obedience to a Mashiach Yahushai. Isaiah 29, verse 10 through 13. The book of Isaiah, verse 29, verse 10 through 13. And it reads, for the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, hath he covered. So now he's saying how he's given people, the prophets, watchers, the seers, he's given them the spirit of sleep. See, the Lord, he does what he wills. He reveals this truth to whom he chooses to reveal it to. Verse 11, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. Because if he hasn't removed the scales from their eyes or given them the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, they're not going to get it. It's going to be sealed to them. Verse 12, and the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned. Because the Lord has to give you the wisdom. Because he said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. Verse 13, wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear towards me is taught by the precepts of men. So he was making a point that a lot of people are doing things according to how they want to do it, instead of just being obedient to what the scripture says and how he said to do it in the scriptures. They want to push their own doctrine, that's why he was saying in Mark 7:7, howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. John 10, 1 through 14. John chapter 10, and this is all red letter, 1 through 14, and it reads, Verily, verily, truly, truly, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. So we have to do it according to the doctrine that he laid down, which is Yahweh. Everything Hamashiach Yahushua was doing was what the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, told him to do. It was the doctrine of life, the doctrine that he gave us to do. Verse 2, but he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. Verse 3, to him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them out. Because we need to hear the voice of our Lord and Governor, Hamashiach Yahushai. Verse 4, and when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. So we got the voice. Where's his voice? It's in these scriptures. We can't just make up our own doctrine. We have his voice is in the scriptures. This is his voice. Verse 5, and a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. So the ones that the Lord knows those who are his, and those that call on the name of the Lord, they must turn from wrongdoing, and they're going to hear his voice. His sheep are going to hear it. Verse 6, this parable spake Hamashiach Yahushai unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Verse 7, then said Hamashiach Yahushai unto them again, verily, verily, truly, truly, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. So now he was clarifying to them what he meant. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. So he's saying now, if you do it any other way than the way it was laid down from the foundation, that's a thief and a robber. Verse 9, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. So we have to go through him, like he said in John 14. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man goes to the Father except through me. That's what he said. Verse 10, the thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. So this is what he wants to give his people, Yasharallah, an abundant life. Verse 11, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. He was that sacrificial lamb that laid down his life for Yasharallah. Verse 12, but he that is a hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. Because we have to stay connected to him. Like he said, abide in me, and I in you. For without me, you can do nothing. We have to always stay connected to the vine. He says he is the vine, and we are the branches. Verse 13, the hireling fleeth, because he is a hireling, and careth not for the sheep. So this is our Lord and Governor, Hamashiach Yahushai, saying that we need to follow him. He's the good shepherd. 14, I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. So there he's making it crystal clear. He's saying he is the good shepherd. Job chapter 4 and 13. The book of Job chapter 4 verse 13, and it reads, in thoughts from the visions of the night, when deep sleep falleth on men. In thoughts from the visions of night, when deep sleep falleth on men. Now I'm going to stay in Job, and I'm going to jump to chapter 33 and verse 14 through 18. And it reads, for Yahweh speaketh once, yet twice, yet man perceive it not. Sometimes people may hear it the first time, they may not get it. Sometimes they hear it the second time. Sometimes people still may not get it, but he's explaining it here. For Yahweh speaketh once, yet twice, yet man perceiveth it not. Verse 15, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon man, and slumberings upon the bed. Verse 16, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instructions. So sometimes while you're just in a sleep state in the bed, just dreaming, he can seal your instructions. And so this is twofold. He could have people in a sleep state where they can't hear and get the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, or you could be in a sleep state where you can get a vision, or he reveal something to you. So let me read 16 again to 18. Then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man, because he hates that pride. He resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Verse 18, he keepeth back his soul from the pit and his life from the perishing by the sword. So this is when you're being obedient, this is how he'll be for you. He'll be your shield and your buckler. He'll hide you under the shadows of his wings. He'll be your very present help in a time of trouble. Proverbs 19, the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 15 through 16. Proverbs 19, verse 15 through 16, and it reads, slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. So now, people that are not, now he's saying you can't just be slothful, you have to be doing the work, because if you're not doing the work, you could be in that deep sleep where you don't have any, you just lose you can lose the light, and you don't have no wisdom, knowledge, and understanding if you're just being idle in slumber. He that keepeth verse 16, he that keepeth the commandment keepeth his own soul, but he that despises his ways shall die. So the Lord is telling us we can't despise the ways that he told us to do this. He wants us to stay obedient to what the scriptures are saying, so that we can keep the oil and keep our lamps burning. Genesis chapter 15, verse 12 through 14, and it reads, and when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. Now this was Abraham, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. So he was in a sleep state, having a vision. In verse 13, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Verse 14, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards they shall come out with great substance. So in this sleep state the Lord had put Abraham in, he was letting him see a vision of things to come for Israel. We were going to be going into these different captivities. This was a bondage that we were going to go in and be afflicted. And I'm bringing these out to show how the Lord can put people in a slumber and his different sleep states. Acts 7, verse 1 through 8. We're going to the book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 1 through 8, and it reads, then said the high priest, are these things so? And he said, men, brethren, and fathers, hearken, the God Yahweh of glory appeared unto our father Abraham. So Apostle Paul was going back to Abraham, when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Sharon, and said unto him, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee. So he was giving Abraham an inheritance. Verse 4, then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Charan. And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land wherein ye now dwell. Verse 5, and he gave none inheritance in it. No, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. So at the time, he didn't have Ishmael, or he didn't even have Isaac at the time when the Most High had promised these things to Abraham. Verse 6, and Yahweh spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage and entreat them evil for 400 years. Verse 7, and the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said Yahweh. And after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place. So what place? He's talking about the New Jerusalem, the kingdom. So see, the thing is, we have to stay obedient. He never sleeps and he never slumbers, the Most High, but he does put the spirit of slumber on our people. And then some of them are just walking around in a sleep state now, but we know the Most High, he's the one that does it. That's what I'm trying to show through this lesson. Verse 8, and he gave him the covenant of circumcision, which we were set apart with the law, statutes, and the commandments. And so Abraham beget Isaac. So he had Isaac, and circumcised him the 8th day, because that was the custom to circumcise the males when they were born on the 8th day. So that was that physical circumcision. And Isaac beget Jacob, and Jacob beget the 12 patriarchs. So Jacob was the progenitor of all the 12 tribes. But this all started with faithful Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. So we were supposed to see the whole thing. We've been promised an inheritance from the Most High, and this covenant that he made through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is a blessing. But we got to make sure we stay steadfast and using spiritual eyes and continue to stay awake, not sleep and slumber. We want to make sure we're being obedient to what the Lord is saying. Now I'm going to the book of Daniel, chapter 8. Daniel, chapter 8, verse 18 through 19. And now it reads, now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep. Now this was Daniel getting revealed a vision in his sleep, on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. So Daniel was getting a vision from the Most High Yahweh. Verse 19, and he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation, for at the time appointed the end shall be. So he was giving Daniel a vision, of the end times. Daniel was showed a lot of things. When you get into the book of Daniel, it's prophecies about things that are going on now. You get into Daniel and Revelations. So I'm going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 20 and 21. And it reads, and he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. So this was Moses, that the Lord had gave a vision and a prophecy about what was going to happen to our people because they didn't want to keep the law, statutes, and the commandments. See, this all goes back to the beginning. It was started with Adam. Adam was blown the breath of life, the law, statutes, and commandments. Then Moses, he was our king and the Levitical priest who went up to Mount Sinai and brought it back to Yasharallah in the wilderness. And our people said, all these laws we will do, but then they fell asleep. Some of them fell asleep. Verse 21, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not Yahweh. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. So now that's why our people are going through it, because they don't want to take heed and listen to what the Lord is saying. It all started with the breath of life from the beginning and the law, statutes, and commandments. So the Lord is making it clear why all these things have come upon us. The book of Acts, chapter 20, book of Acts, chapter 20, verse 9 through 11. And it reads, "And there sat in a window a certain young man named Eutychus, being fallen into a deep sleep." See, this lesson is titled How the Most High has Given Them the Spirit of Slumber. So I'm giving examples of people through the scriptures, prophets, and different accounts of how the Lord put a sleep on them. Let me start from verse 9 again. Acts 20, verse 9 through 11. "And there sat in a window a certain young man named Eutychus, being fallen into a deep sleep. And as Paul was long preaching, he sunk down with sleep." So Paul was breaking bread, giving him the word, the living water. And then after a while, Paul got tired and fell down from the third loft and was taken up dead. And Paul went, or this was actually Eutychus, Salakia. "And Paul went down and fell on him, and embracing him said, 'Trouble not yourselves, for his life is in him.'" So Eutychus fell from the loft because they were sitting there. Paul was just preaching the word. They were going all through the night, and he fell down from the loft. Verse 11, "When he therefore was come up again and had broken bread," so they came up again, they started to break bread again, "and eaten and talked," Salakia, "and eaten and talked a long while, even till break of day, so he departed." So this was the breaking bread. Paul was sharing that word with Eutychus, and they were going all night. And the word was so heavy with Eutychus. He had fallen from the loft, but the Lord sustained him. So this was another example of someone that was in a sleep state, but the Lord still sustained him. Revelations 3, verse 18. The book of Revelations, chapter 3, and verse 18. And it reads, "I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich." How do we do this? The counsel to eat his words up. He says it's freely given. It doesn't cost you anything to just eat the word. That's what Paul was doing with Eutychus. He was just giving him the word all through the night. So let's see what Yahushua said here. Verse 18, "I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see." So he wants us to be able to see, but he has to do this. He puts that eye salve on us so that we can see things clear, but we'll see it spiritually, and we won't be in a slumber state. Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians, I passed it, Salakia. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 14, and it reads, "Wherefore he saith, Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and a Mashiach, Yahushua, shall give thee light." So all the ones that are in a sleep state, he's asking for them to wake up. But the thing is, if he doesn't remove the scales from their eyes, they're not going to be able to see. They won't be able to see. So this is a blessing if you can see and understand this truth. Anyone that has this understanding of this truth, it's a blessing to have. And I'm going to close out with Ezekiel 37, verse 1 through 6. The book of Ezekiel 37. And I'm going to read verse 1 through 6, and it reads, "The hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones." Verse 2, "And caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there was a very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry." Verse 3, "And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord Yahweh, thou knowest." So this was a time where Ezekiel was seeing some people that was running around spiritually dead. Their eyes were not open. They couldn't see things. And then verse 4, "Again he said unto me, Prophesy again, Salakia, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord." So this is how people, their eyes can be open. They have to hear the word of the Lord. Verse 5, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live." So this word is the life living. This is the living water. When people get this word, this is what makes them alive. That's the word is what does it. That's why he said this. What is it, John? Oh, he said the spirit. It's the spirit that quickeneth. So it changes you. Once you hear this word, it can change your life. Verse 6. Let me start at 5 again. "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live." This is what happened with Adam at the beginning. He had put the breath of life. He blew the laws, statutes, and commandments. He got the word, the living water. Verse 6, "And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and you shall live. And you shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh." So this whole lesson is about being in the sleep, the spirit of slumber that the Most High will do. But the Most High is the one that has to remove the scales from your eyes and put the eye salve so that you can see. And I hope that everyone that listened to this lesson was edifying. And I tried to show why a lot of people cannot seem to get it. It's like it's going in one ear and out the other, and it gets vexing to people because it's like, wow, it gets redundant. They're hearing it over and over. But if the Lord has got them in a slumber state, they're just in that sleep state. So, that's why in Romans, he was saying, let me get that. Let me just go back to Romans before we close out. Romans 11, let's go back there, because this is what it is. I mean, a lot of them, they're in a state that the Lord has got them in. Romans 11, verse 7, and it reads, "What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded." See, the Lord has got to remove the scales from their eyes. So he said the elect have obtained it, but the rest are blinded. Verse 8, "According as it is written, Yahweh hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, until this day." So the ones that are able to see and understand this truth, you're seeing and understanding, you're seeing with your eyes and you're hearing with your ears. All praises to the Most High. That's a blessing to be able to do this. And I want to say shalom to Ross Hezekiah Tate, Yahweh Bashem and Mashiach, Yahweh Shai Barakatah to you. And didn't know you was on till I just seen you on. All praises. Hope you heard it. But yeah, it was just a kind of spur of the moment. The Lord put something on your spirit, so I had to bring it out. So all praises to the Most High. And I want to say peace and salutations to everyone that, listened in, and all those that are in absent. So I just want to give the Most High all the honor and glory. And so the water to Abanawa, Yahweh, and Adawan, and Adawan Ratazah, Yahweh willing, we'll be able to do this again. All praises to the Most High. Shalom.